You're listening to the Comic Crusaders Podcast. I am your host, Al Mega, CEO of Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes. In this show, I'm sitting down with creators from all walks of life to talk about inspiration, process, the lessons they've learned, and a whole lot more. What up, Crusaders? Welcome back to another action-packed, comic-fueled, no-holds-barred episode of the Comic Crusaders Podcast. That's right, baby. I'm your host, Al Mega, bringing you another deep dive into the world of comics where we celebrate the dopest creators in the game. That's right, baby. And today we have an absolute legend joining us, one of the wildest, most fearless storytellers in the industry. He is the mastermind behind Plastic, The Hard Place, Gun Candy, and right now we're going to be talking about his brand new Image Comics book, I Was a Fashion School Serial Killer. My man is crazy. It's a tale of murder, mayhem, and haute couture that's going to turn the runaway into a crime scene. It's the big boss himself, the weapon. Let me give it up to Doug Wagner. Woo! How you doing, kiddo?
Mr. Mega, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing wonderful, man. Giving me that mega energy because thank you for allowing me that read that first issue of that mad book that I was saying in the green room. I'm just kind of scared of this man. I'm like, where did this stuff come from? Like, yo, you're gonna murder me if I go to Comic-Con, son. I got yo, what are you coming up with? No, it's just scary, man. I saw so many things, but we're gonna get into this. We're gonna get into your whole madness and the stuff that you're beyond. So, but I love my good old origin story, Doug. So you got to give it up to me. Where you originally from? But most important question you ever be asked in your life: what was the first thing in fandom overall that you ever fell in love with?
Man, well, originally I'm from Florida, so I grew up on the east coast of Florida, kind of close to space, Cape Canaverals. You know, where the rockets and stuff used to go up.
Dude, I was in Cocoa for a minute. I know.
Oh yeah, right down the street. Yep. And so I mean, dude, yeah, the first fandom that's a tough one because like there was so much stuff. You know, I'm a little bit older, obviously. You can tell by the gray growing around.
Hey, did you see my beard, sir?
Yeah, there's a little bit going on. Yeah,
it's not dyed, you know.
I think probably the first thing I remembered, like just being absolutely in love with, was probably Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, great! Oh my God, great one! I remember watching that on TV. Absolutely.
Yeah, you know, and back then we didn't have DVRs and streaming and all that kind of stuff, so you had to be at the TV at a certain time every week to see it. And, you know, yeah. I mean, growing up being like a nerd kid and a kind of a little bit of a loner, you know, like sci-fi was my thing. But back then you couldn't tell people you love sci-fi.
I love it. You got into that. I love asking that question. Were you a loner growing up in your geekdom? You know what I mean? Because, again, we are of a certain age where, you know, like nowadays, that shit is the coolest shit on the planet. Yeah. People connect instantly. But back in the day, it's like, yo, you like that little kid shit? You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, man. I mean,
get your ass.
If you mentioned that you love sci-fi comics or fantasy when we were growing up, you got your ass beat.
Yeah, like, it was a fight. I mean, hopefully you didn't get it because listen, just because we were geeks didn't mean that we didn't have hands.
Oh no,
that we had to learn how to have hands.
You know, if you're gonna stand up and go, man, I love Colonial Vipers, you better be ready. Like it was time.
And what, right? Oh shit, let's go. Listen, it was a tough time, you know what I mean? Not celebrating that at all, you know what I mean? It was tough, but, you know, but look at us. I mean, that generation became, you know, wonderful creators nowadays, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And now those bullies look up to them, you know?
Yeah, I mean, look at Marvel and Star Wars and, you know, all the stuff you see now. Like, I mean, now it's huge. We were just kind of I think we were the fan pioneers.
Yeah, yo. We took the hits for these youngins.
Yeah, we did the hard fight.
Yeah, we are the older siblings of the fandom.
That's correct.
That's who we are. You know, we took the hits for you guys, and also that way you could have open doors. All right, fuck, man, don't be playing with us. All right, don't be playing. I love it. All right, so talk to me how then all of this fandom of yours, all this wackiness that you were loving so much, made you. What was the spark? What was the day? If you see that little blank, you know, you got to think, my Spectrum, thank you for giving me horrible net. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, dude, that's, you know, the spark was kind of always there, but I never realized it. So it's like one of those things where like I was always writing. I loved typewriters when I was a kid. So I just
my man said typewriters.
Yep, I love typewriters, man. I just get on there and make up little stories. And, like you said, like we talked about earlier, like I was kind of a loner and an outcast. So kind of like I got used to daydreaming and just kind of playing by myself and making up characters and all that kind of stuff.
I hear you on that.
And so like, Battlestar Galactica and like, obviously when Star Wars came out, that was huge. And then, as a little kid, I kind of bumped into comics, it was like Casper, the Friendly Ghost and Flintstones and that kind of stuff and fell in love with that. And so the spark was kind of always there. I didn't realize I was a writer then, though. Like it was just one of those things. Like that's just what I did on my free time. It was just for fun. And then I met Cully Hamner, who's been working in comics for 40 years now. We went to the same high school.
You're Asian the man too. He's going to be saying.
Yeah, I am. I'm throwing him under the table. and we became friends in high school. And we started making our own. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
So we started making our own comic books, like just for fun. And about, because I'm a little slow sometimes. Well, a lot of the time. And about 6 months into that, like it just dawned on me. I'm 17 and I went, wait a minute, I think this is what I want to do with the rest of my life. I just want to write comic books. Now my parents weren't happy about that, but that's where
my mother would feed me comics, and then my father was the bad cop. Why are you reading that stuff?
Mine was the opposite.
Bible, hey, read the Bible. Those are better stories.
Mine was the opposite. My dad would buy me anything I wanted, like Monster Magazine and all that kind of stuff. And my mom would be like, "What?" I would have to hide it from her.
Dude, my mom was the one buying me Savage Sword of Conan. Me, as an 80-year-old kid, should not have been reading that. But hey, thank you, Mama. I love Conan nowadays. Shit.
Yeah, mine was the opposite. My dad was the one that was the instigator of comics and
too funny.
Cool magazines and stuff.
You see, but I'll give it to my dad though, because he used to work at a job in Manhattan in like a rich person building, and sometimes I guess the kids didn't appreciate the toys, and they would basically just throw out. Listen, I had all the Generation 1 G.I. Joes, Generation 2 vehicles, and he would just bring it to me. He goes, I think you'd like this. I'm like, at least you ain't throw it out. Thank you, at least.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I had a blast as a kid. I don't give a fuck. All right, so but you definitely do have an impressive body of work, since you've broken out. I mean, especially with Image Comics, what again, talking about what drew you into the world of comics. How did you step in? Like, what was that day like that you got your first opportunity, for example?
Oh man, there's 2 times, right? So like I've broken in twice. Yeah. And so like, 17, like, hey, this is what I want to do. And then there's that, like, obviously at 17 and 18, you think you're a good writer. You're not. So it was a lot of sending in pitches and getting rejections, that kind of path. But I'm hard headed, so man, I just kept piling on. Okay. And when I was 25, so 7 years later, 8 years later, I get my first gig with Malibu Comics. So
Malibu, wow.
Yep. So they had picked up the original thing Cully Hamner and I had created. Malibu was actually going to publish as their first creator-owned book.
Oh wow.
In the meantime, they're going to let me write some Ultra Force.
So,
kind of get my legs under me kind of stuff. And then Marvel bought them and shut them down. Yeah. So, I had that a moment of like, oh my God, I finally made it. And then like 3 months later going, oh, I'm back to square one.
Man, Malibu was hot then, brother. Malibu was so hot, cool cartoon even, like popping off immediately. Like it was the publisher that made shit happen, and then like you said, Marvel bought them and said, "Shut up, we're not gonna let you live.
You're done." And then so I won't lie, that rocked me for a couple of years. Like
I can't imagine.
You kind of had it. I felt like I had it all, and then all of a sudden it was all gone, like in 3 months. And so it took me a while to kind of get back on my feet. I started, doing some more pitches and getting more rejection letters, that kind of fun stuff. And then probably about 2003, Kevin Gardner and I were sitting down. He's the president of 12 Gauge Comics now. Yeah. And we, as we all do, right? We're talking about, well, man, if I was running Marvel or DC, or if I was running Image Comics, this is what I'd do. And I can't remember which one of us said it, but one of us said, maybe it's time to put up or shut up. Like it's easy to sit back here and talk about what we do. How about we try it? And that's where 12 Gauge Comics was born.
Nice.
And then basically, like over these years, I'd made friends with a lot of people like Brian Stelfreeze and Jason Pearson and Cully Hamner, and a lot of other people. And we just decided to start making our own comics. And luckily, when we started doing it, Image wanted to jump on board with us.
Oof,
that was the ride. So the first, getting back into it, several years later, almost a decade later, I come back into comics with the ride.
Wow. Amazing, man. So what was that like then? Jumping in now, and now you were Image, and now your stories are getting out there on even a bigger scale than you probably could have imagined.
It was terrifying. Here I am working with legends of the industry, right? Like Brian Stelfreeze and Cully Hamner in the first episode.
Bro, yeah, bro.
Written by Doug Wagner, who nobody had ever heard of.
Doug is so spoiled. You hear this guy? Like, I need a broom for all the names he's dropping right now. My gosh.
It's just like, so you're like, oh my God, I got these incredible legends working with me, but like I have no name. So like, yeah, you're terrified.
Little Dougie right here, right?
Yeah. So we'd be doing cons together, and people walk up, and they'd get it signed by Brian and Cully, but they're like, "Who are you?" Oh, I don't need your signature.
No, I kind of wrote the thing.
They don't care. Yeah, I mean, I loved it. It was exciting to finally get help start getting my dream on track. But at the same time, I won't lie, like it was exciting and terrifying all at once. Because you're like, man, this is your shot. Don't blow it.
So talk to me right here, bro, because your breakout book, Plastic.
Yeah.
It's a bizarre and bold premise, if you will. A retired serial killer with a deep love for a woman who's, not quite human, if you will. And what's the genesis of the idea? This is what I'm talking about. My man is sick, man. He got a brain over here. You're going to love it.
Well, Plastic's always is always going to have a special place in my heart, because up until that point, I'd always been kind of trying to write what I thought people wanted me to write. And Plastic was the first time that I wrote.
I want to hear this then. So when you say that, what you thought people wanted you to write, like what place were you in your head then when you say that?
At that point, I was trying to write for a general audience, right? Like you're trying to hey, what is everybody else writing? What is Marvel and DC doing? And let me try to follow the path that they're
in the narrative that they're in or whatever.
Right. Yeah. You're trying to follow that same path, almost like a TV show, right? If I'm going to write FBI, I have to write how they write. And that's always a mistake. That's what Plastic taught me. And so that was the first time I wrote something that I wanted to read. Solely wanted to read. And so that changed everything.
You took a selfish mindset, screw everybody else is reading. This is what I want to read.
Yeah,
because I use that as an example because people say, "Oh, sometimes you got to get selfish, and it's not bad." But no, it really isn't, because you see what you created.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Daniel and I didn't think anybody was gonna read it but us. So we were like, well, we just might as well make it to where we would like it. And you learn as you're going along, creatively, that's honestly, it sounds selfish, but at the same time, that's how the stranger defends. Yeah. If it's not good enough for me to read, it's not good enough for anybody to read.
Because you're a fan too at the end of the day.
Right.
So you want to please your audience, but you also want to make sure, hey, if I was some rando on the street, or one day I get Alzheimer's and I happen to pick up this book, I want to say, wow, this writer's fantastic. Oh, it is me. Yeah. Shit, you know what I mean? Let's go. And God forbid that happened. But I'm saying,
to the point where we were showing it to other people, and we had colleagues telling us, don't put this book out, it's going to end your careers.
What? Ew. Yeah. Haters, son, haters.
Yeah.
They so imagine they didn't want you pulling that money from those bookshops. Haters.
They're like, dude, you can't write stuff like this. And I was like, well, we're deep in it. We're going to do it anyway. So, but if you're talking about where the concept came from, I love the muses, right? That's what I always talk about. The muses kind of whispering in your ear and giving you the ideas and that kind of stuff. And this one, I was on a long road trip, which is the weirdest road trip I've ever been on. So we were driving from Atlanta to Baltimore to go to Baltimore Con. And we decided to drive because back then our booth was so big that we just had to take it in the van, right? And dude, I can't even go into all. I still use stuff from this road trip and stories to this day. And so we're it's probably midnight and we're passing into Virginia, and they don't have "Welcome to Virginia" signs like every other state, right? They have "Buckle up, Virginia." And honestly, that's where the whole idea just immediately started coming to me. It was what if that was somebody's last words? Who would they say that to? What if it was to a blow-up doll? So that's just that little instance of here's one little inciting incident.
Scared. Was there a blow up car in that vehicle you were driving?
No, but we had Brian Stelfreeze was in the back seat and he slept the entire time.
He might as well have been a blow up doll.
Yeah, he might as well have been a blow up doll. And every now and then he just wake up and say something strange and go back to sleep.
He was having ideas. He just wish I had a pen. He was probably going, yo. I'm digging it. I can't imagine. Listen, my one road trip, I'll tell you that I was driving a truck from Florida to New York. I lost all digital signal in my truck. Didn't know if I had gas, how fast I was going. Got off at some random place where everything was closed with no help for like several hours. It was kind of scary. Like that could have inspired a story. What if I would have gotten abducted by aliens? What if it was an alien EMP that they were about to abduct me?
Yeah, that's like
what the fuck, bro? Let me tell you. All right, and talking about being in a hard place like that, bro, you also have a gripping crime thriller called A Hard Place. So what's the secret to writing like a great crime story, that keeps the readers kind of the edge of their seats and shit? Like, I mean, because you're killing it, Doug. You're a monster.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, dude, with stuff like that, like, you have to go back to writing for yourself and making sure that it's something you would want to pick up and read. And if it's not as exciting for you, so you're sitting there half the time going, you know what, this isn't good enough, Doug. You need to rewrite this scene, or you need to cut this one. And so it's really coming down to, it's a lot of gut instinct. Sure, there's plenty of books you can read about how to write a good story and those kind of things, but if it was that easy, everybody would be doing it.
Agreed. Because it really isn't that easy. Listen, I have so many ideas, but when I try to sit down in front of it, it's very difficult. It's like, how can I word this and be comfortable doing this? I really got to get maybe some courses, need to listen to some people a little bit more and keep learning the craft. Even as I listen to you, I'm hearing you, and I dig it. I gotta just be not scared to finally, dive in, and take that ride. Now, again, oh shit, no pun intended, but segue into the ride, baby, the ride. So many creators involved over the years. Was it like working on the title, which is a deep history right there? Talk about that.
Oh, working with the people like that worked on the ride.
Yeah,
dude. Again, you're working with people who, at that point had been doing it for decades and were legends. And that I was fans of, and so you're right. I mean, it impacts you when you're writing the script. Back then it did anyway, because you're writing this, and you're like, man, they're used to working with people like Mark Waid, and Denny O'Neil, and like, I gotta hope this script doesn't make me sound like an idiot. So like, there's part of that going on. But
come on, Doug, man, you gotta go pump out your chest, bro. Come on, let's go, baby. You gotta prove, because you murder the game already, man. You gotta go there. Yeah, you can stand tall, because you are boss. Fuck that. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Back then I wasn't quite, where I am now. But like back then, it was like you're scared that you're not writing well enough for them. And luckily, yeah. I never, you never had anybody like, they might call and say, hey, I'm not sure I understand this, what you're going for here, or those kind of things. But that's normal.
Okay.
And so like, none of them ever complained. All of them said, hey, I got this. And it was just a joy to see kind of like what you have in your mind come to life with people that you're huge fans of.
Oh man, that must have been so much fun. Let me tell you. All right, so your books tend to have a very cinematic feeling, right? Do you ever find yourself picturing them as movies? As you're kind of working on them, as you're dealing with like writing through a comic page.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, I kind of see the film in my head as I'm writing it. Like I see it, and I don't want to say film. It's almost like I see it in real life. So it's a dream, right? So you're like envisioning this and kind of reimagining
that 5D, the Wagnerverse, and that's it, and you see it.
Yep, you just kind of see it as it's going along, and then you kind of have to journal. Yeah, dude, I got notebooks everywhere. Like you just kind of write it down, and then you got to then you take it and you kind of break it down. Okay, what's the images that's going to make that work in a comic versus a live action film or TV show kind of thing.
I'm not trying to mess with you here, but you say you have notebooks everywhere. Do you even have one in the toilet, like hidden somewhere, just in case you have an idea?
Not hidden, but I mean, there's times, I don't go to the toilet without either my phone or a notebook.
Oh, there we go. Done deal. My man's working. Period, yo. I love it. You don't give a fuck, bro. I love this energy. You know what? We need to start talking about this new baby he got dropping real soon, folks. I mean, I had the pleasure Let me tell you, my man is sick, and I love how he was going. That's what kind of a lot of elements. We're gonna get into that real quick, man. It is called I Was a Fashion School Serial Killer. As an OG from New York, the placement and all, I was digging the shit out of it. Now, I mean, yo, give us the elevator pitch. Like, if we were chilling, I came up to you real quick. Yo, bro, what the hell is this all about? What would Doug Wagner just give it to me?
Okay, so basically, you got a serial killer. She's obsessed with turning human remains into clothes. And she decides that she wants to be a fashion designer. So she goes to the most prestigious New York fashion school in the world.
And he will fuck you up from there because it's funny. I see Dexter. I see fucking Hellraiser. I see Norman Bates. You know what I mean? I see Leatherface. I see all this in this. It's like, yo, madness. And look at these covers, man. Yeah, for real, yo. Because again, as I was reading the story, it's really dope as you go through the character. And people question her fashion. And it's funny when you start learning where it comes from. And it's like, oh, fuck, bro. All right. It's funny. Yeah, I'm digging it, but bro, where were you? Where were you mentally when you thought about this, bro? For real, because this is I love the concept, really do.
I mean, sometimes you get lucky and things just kind of come to you. And honestly, this all started with like me doing more research in serial killers, and I kind of went down this rabbit hole of like finding out about female serial killers because there's so few, right? There's so many male ones, but there's so few female ones. And I bumped into several, but Elizabeth's
few female ones that have gotten caught.
Yeah, they're probably smarter than us, so that's why there's exactly. and then I bumped into Elizabeth Bathory, who was known as the Blood Countess, and dude, like in her day, she murdered hundreds of people they suspect, and was rumored to take baths in their blood, and that's kind of where Rennie kind of came from because I was like, what would be the modern interpretation of that, like. Back then she got away with it because obviously, she was in charge of stuff and could do it. But like, where would you hide all those bodies? And then I was like, I'm part Native American. And so like part of our culture is like, if you hunt something, you have to use all the parts, right? You just don't take the meat and throw the rest away.
Yes, I understand that.
And I was like, well, the obvious answer is to hide it in plain sight, right? Like, why don't just make clothes and stuff out of it? Like nobody would know, right? Like you're wearing it around. Like, where's the evidence? You're wearing it.
I love the compliments he gets, though. It's crazy because I worked in the fashion industry when I was younger, and just see some of the verbiage used, and you got the shit on the money, and like on the stitching, and it's like, oh shit, this is fucking hysterical. Like they can't even tell. Oh yeah, it's and I love her response. Yeah, it's a type of leather.
It's leather.
It's thick, bro. Yeah, it's something. You know what I mean? I dig it, man. And look at this cover. I'm digging it, bro. Look at this stuff, bro.
Oh yeah, that's it. Janet
Talk
Jackson.
about this team, man. Who did this first cover right here?
Oh, that's Daniel Hilliard, the guy that drew the book.
There you go. That's your boy, your partner right here, right?
Oh yeah, he did the first two. He did covers A and B, so he also did the Janet Jackson homage there.
Yeah, bro. Look at that, man. Controversial back in the day. I remember having that issue.
Yep.
The OG magazine. Oh man,
Jay Lee.
Yeah, legend, bro.
Oh yeah,
he had that jacket, folks. Do you see what's going on here? Please look at the detail that Jay put into that jacket, yo. For real, that is fucking fire.
Yeah, when I was talking to him, I didn't know, because my stuff's not for everybody. So I was like, dude, here's what I'm thinking. Here's the main character, and this is what she does. Are you cool with that? And he's like, oh yeah, I already got an idea. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, then we're like-minded. Let's do it.
Yo, brother, my man murdered that fucking cover. I love this. And just that look, because now that is creepy as F. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, all right, like, lady, I don't like, oh, wait, where did you get this leather again? Holy shit. And then look at this artistry, panel usage. Who's your letterer on this? I do love the lettering, man.
Ed Dukeshire. I've worked with Ed now for probably 20 years, and I love it. Yeah,
dope.
He gets me. Like it's. I don't have to explain everything sometimes. When I'm like, hey, I want to do some different sound effect wise here. He just kind of gets it, and so I love
artist, man. What about that colorer too? Who's your colorist?
Oh yeah, Michelle Madsen. I've been working with her for a couple of years now too, man, and she's amazing. Just super professional, super.
So everybody you worked with, you've been with them kind of for a minute in your journey.
Oh yeah.
Wonderful, man. So it just makes the process easier, I would assume.
It makes the process easier. And honestly, like, I mean, once you all when you find your people, like, and you get along and you understand what everybody's doing and nobody's getting offended by anything that I'm writing or those kind of things, you hold on tight to them, man. And like, you take good care of them because like they're rare people. You know, it's not as easy as you think finding a good team. And
I hear that. Let me ask you something though. I want people to understand that this is the comic book you guys got to get right now. I'm telling you, you got to put this on your pull list because I need you to tell us about the protagonist a bit. Who are we following in the story, and what makes them someone that we want to watch, even if we don't even want to hang out with them alone? But why do we got to watch them?
We follow Rennie. She's the main character. She's our fashion school serial killer. And, you know, she's kind of like, you know, a lot like we were talking about earlier, like she's kind of a loner and an outcast and she knows she's different, but, you know, she's not ashamed of what she is. Okay. She can't tell everybody, of course. And in this, she's obsessed with becoming a fashion designer. Like it's her dream, like my dream with being a comic book writer, you know, like it's her dream to do this and she's obsessed with it. And so she's going to go on this path of like, I'm going to go to school. I'm going to stay focused on becoming the best fashion designer I can. And I'm going to ignore everything else. Of course, that's not how life works. So, you know,
not in this universe, not in the Wagner-verse, it doesn't.
No. So, you know, of course, she's like, hey, I'm not going to kill anybody while I'm in school. You know, I don't want to take out students or teachers, those kind of things.
At least not yet, because listen, I'm tempted for her. I said, man, give me the knife. There's somebody there that's so annoying, man. That's another thing. Because, you know, the protagonist is awesome. But you know how to create an annoying character as well. Like, I wouldn't tolerate someone like this being such a bully. Like, where do you dive in when you create such an evil person to kind of like, because again, I love her counter in the book, and people, you got to read how that works. But again, how do you create also such a asshole of a character within the book?
With a lot of the plastic verse stuff, you know, like the fun part is like taking something like a serial killer and going, how can you justify this? And what would make that person change in your eyes?
All right.
And to me, like, yeah, they're serial killers, and listen, they're horrible. You know, most serial killers are absolutely horrible people. Yeah, but there's people out there doing horrible stuff and they're not killing people, but to me, it's just as bad. And that's kind of like the theme I want to play with is like, do you think killing somebody that kind of has it coming is worse than bullying somebody into killing themselves? You know, those kind of things, like, you know, kind of playing with that dichotomy of like, I think there's some really bad people in this world. They don't necessarily kill people, but they ruin people's lives.
Oh, yeah. You definitely push buttons. I'm the anti-bully. I hate bullies.
Yeah, same.
And that particular character that we're talking about, I'm pushing my buttons, son. I said, oh, my God. So again, goes to show what a good job you did. I felt invested in the characters, so I was caring. Like, I didn't want to see her get bullied. I was there with her for this is in New York too, so let's go. And why choose that particular school and location?
For me, like, first off, I love New York, so like, that's from what all my research showed me was like, honestly, for the United States especially, but New York City is the focal point of the fashion industry. And most of the prestigious fashion institutes are in New York City. And so I'm like, that it has to be there. Like, it doesn't make sense to put it anywhere else in the United States. Yeah.
Who needs Rodeo Drive? That's right, baby. New York repping hard, baby. Let's go.
Well, but I mean, Rodeo Drive's one thing, but I don't think it's necessarily where they create stuff. They sell stuff there.
Exactly. They sell to the bougie what we make in New York. That's right. That's right. Love it. And look at this gory as seen at the bottom. Yeah, I mean, what a wonderful kill. Let me tell you in this preview. I mean, amazing. And this is just the start, folks. You guys have no idea what pops off after madness like this. What again, amazing book. And you know, it's like, is she good? Is she bad? What do you feel about her? Like, again, that's what I mean. It kind of feels like Dexter-ish. It's like, yeah, he's a fucking murderer, but there's always that but there.
Yep.
And it's like, shit, now that tests your own moral values and ethics. Mm-hmm. Like, yo, why is this okay? This is not okay to kill, but why did you feel it is? You know. So thank you for testing those waters between our fucking site there, bro. Because it's like fuck, you know.
Yeah, I mean that's the kind of buttons we want to push. You know, like that's honestly what Daniel and I love doing is going, hey, listen, you know, in our dark comedy way of obviously, but like the whole Dexter thing and even, you know, I'd throw in there, you know, Wednesday Addams.
Oh yeah, the way she is. Oh yeah. She reminded me of my daughter. This is quite kind of connected, very standoffish and shit. I hope my daughter's not a serial killer, but you know, you know, but kind of like that, kind of, you know, she's a very cool girl, but you know, when people try to approach us, like, what do you want?
Mm-hmm.
Very New York attitude. What you need? You need something, right? Because other than that, why are you being so friendly? That's my fault. You know, I told her that shit.
That's the kind of character we're kind of running with Rennie in the beginning here, especially is like, yeah, she's that like, I do my thing. I'm okay with you doing your thing, but like, I don't want to interact with anybody. I just want to do my thing and be left alone. And so
you could tell on that last fourth panel, you know, there's somebody extending her hand. It's just the way she's like, you know, so apprehensive that kind of even like touch, like, yo, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, you know, until we find out about who she is. Oh, and there goes that mother. I can't stand her ass, dude. Let me tell you. Great, yo, when I can't stand somebody, you did a fucking good job. You created a wonderful heel.
Yep, awesome. I'm glad you love her.
Yeah, not really, but I can't wait to see what the fuck happens. And there goes one of those scenes like you were talking about that was also part of the previous. Like, I mean, look at this. Like, yo, what's going on? We're gonna learn a lot, yo. And this character is amazing. You know when you're gonna learn about it? Right here on April 2nd, baby. Dropping from Image Comics, you know, on that Wednesday. So you have time, folks. We're only in February, so please go to your local comic shop right now. Put this on your pull list. Yo, Comic Crusaders approved, seal of approval. You see it there. I don't put that. I may put it on my podcast because I believe in the books. There may be some podcasts where you won't see it. I'll be supportive, you know. But something like this, yeah, for real, is like this is real. I love it. It's horror. It's fun. See a lot of things like there's a scene there that's gonna bring you back to an old school horror movie. I was like, yo, this motherfucker, Doug is sick. He's a sick man.
There's some truth to
that. and bro, so all right, talk to me here. If Fashion School Serial Killer were turned into a movie, what's your dream casting for the lead? And who directs this stylish slaughterfest?
Man, that's a tough one because there's so many. I mean, dude, there's so many great actors and directors out there right now. And I mean, obviously, you know, we already mentioned Wednesday, so immediately Jenna Ortega comes up. I think she would be perfect.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I met her at the Scream event when the last flick. Yeah, she's what a great energy. What a beautiful young lady. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, she could pull this off easy. This is right in her wheelhouse. And then as far as directors, like, man, I would like to see somebody like David Orvanovsky, you know, the guy that did Brightburn.
Oh my God, I love that fucking movie, bro.
Yeah, I'd love to see somebody like that directing.
That movie was so sick. I think it's so underrated. I think people ignore it because it's like, I don't want to see a Superman say this is too much. And like, nah, bro, that shit is real. Because what if Superman fucking came in evil? That's why I love that. What if, yo, the world, we're fucked.
Yeah, there's nobody can stop them. Yeah,
we're fucked, bro. We're done. Elon, you better create as many robots as you can quick in order to, while we hide underground somewhere. Hopefully, you know what I mean? Because that movie scared the shit out of me when I was thinking about that. Like, yo, for real, like you think about what if, man?
Yeah,
damn, that was scary. But again, but I think you even bring up scarier shit. That's what this is about because this is just some young lady making clothes. God knows if you're wearing somebody. Literally, when you know, like, oh, who are you wearing? Like literally, that whole fucking question. Who are you wearing?
Oh, now you give me this idea, Al. I needed that before I finished the book. That would have been a perfect, like, who are you wearing?
Oh, bro, listen, bro. For the graphic novel, write that shit down. Inspired by Omega. Who are you wearing?
Who are you wearing? I love it. I love it.
Yeah, bro. I'm telling you, it's like, yo, and then you see a fucking list of all the fucking murder victims or some shit. Like, I don't know which one. Holy shit.
It's like, well, the shirt's Jimmy and
I don't know.
Jimmy, and I made the belt out of Jack and
oh, it's right? It's fucking Austin, Jack, and Cheryl. Oh, like, huh? What the fuck? Oh my god. Yeah, lingerie by you, we didn't want to know. Hold on.
Yeah.
I love this. All right, kiddo. Before we leave, man, you want to let folks know if you make it any appearances anywhere that we need to know about, so we can meet you in person, shake your hand, get some signed copies of all the amazing books you've done thus far. What's popping?
Oh, thanks. So this year, I think I've got Emerald City Comic Con, which is coming up in like 2 weeks.
Dope.
That's in Seattle, and I'm on schedule to go to San Diego Comic Con. I will probably go to Heroes convention in Charlotte, North Carolina. And then obviously I'm in Utah, so Fan X and Wasatch Comic Con here. I'll be at both of those.
Oh man, I'm gonna send my boy Random Dude to you when you do Fan X over there.
Oh yeah, dude, send him away.
Yeah. So say hello, give you a handshake, and give you an on-site interview, and look through those sexy books in person. Hey, let's make it happen, kiddo. Yeah, you're a big boss. High five. I love the energy, bro. Thank you for making great books, bro. You really are a big boss, and your team is amazing. Image Comics, man, y'all doing the right thing right here, man. Definitely, man, a murderer in the game. Yeah, I can't wait to see what else you bring to. I mean, can you tease? Is there anything else after this?
No, I can't. You know how that works. Like, if I start teasing stuff, Eric might get mad at me and pull it. So,
let's not put anything in, man.
No, I can't
put him in the stripper pole, guys. He's not gonna dance tonight.
No.
I got it. Yeah, but thank you for your time. And folks, I've been showing this throughout. Please follow Doug on Facebook and Instagram at Doug.Wagner 13. That's right. Also on LinkedIn, the same thing, Doug Wagner 13. Blue Sky, Doug Wagner 13. BSKY.social. You know what it is. He cornered the market on Doug Wagner 13, apparently.
Yeah, that's my number. So yes.
That's your number, bro. There we go. And of course, guess what? This doesn't have a 13. Check out Doug's website at Shock Noggin, baby. What can we expect at Shock Noggin? Because it's shocking my noggin right now, like you've done with this book.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
But Shock Noggin, check out the website. That's what Doug does. My Crusaders, I appreciate the hell out of y'all for tuning in. Please follow. All the links are below. Thanks for everybody that hooked this up. I appreciate you. It is Doug Wagner, Omega. Hasta la próxima, mi gente. Ow! Thank you for listening to the Comic Crusaders Podcast. If you like the content, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, please visit comiccrusaders.com and our extended podcast family over at undercovercapes.com. And also, make sure to download the Comic Crusaders app on the Google Play Store today.